You assume the free door is just a next level. And you assume it's not really it, that it's like, this door, then you go and open it and it's like, just kidding, not this door. I always kind of expect them to be a troll too. Like, it'll open, but it'll still troll you just as much. But you'll know that, like, it is totally just a troll. Why are these things all over here? I guess they're grouped up nicely. That's something. I have no mana. Sad face. Oh good, I'm not the only healer. I just checked. Which is good, because I'm really like our best DPS. No, the summoner is doing more than me, but that's it. Nobody can contend with, wow, somebody got a crack cluster. Not that those are that valuable, because, oh my god, tier 6 materials are so easy to come by. Yeah, the other reason I can miss like the free doors is because I'm already thinking ahead as to which door I want. Like I've already decided what door I want. Um, are we failing? What? Arthas, what do you want? Okay. Apparently there's a list. I guess that's fair. Azim step. I will wait for someone else to. Why are everybody doing their? Yeah, get on your mount. Unable to accept. Oh, I thought it was telling me I couldn't get on my mount. I was like, what? Why? Which music is this? Is this Sephiroth? I think so. Slide more like in the canals. Somebody said we ride, and they're like, no, we slide. I think it's up top. I hang it up here. I can always jump in. Somebody's showing off their motorcycle. Treasure is found. Hello! How's it going, guys? Who's missing Final Fantasy XIV? I realized this morning that I never capped my Genesis this week, so oh well. Oh well. I feel like I need some music, but I just don't know. Let me see if we can find my solution from music for streaming. Is it still up? Oh man, this is really loud. How do I control the volume of this? Hmm. Hmm. Let me just see. I don't know. I know that this guy said like ages ago, which is why I have it tagged that you can use it for streaming. But I feel like he may have changed his mind. This was like 2 years ago. Also, I don't know how to control the volume. Why is there no volume thing on this? I don't know. I don't know. Alright, well, we'll just leave it. We'll just sit here in weird, awkward silence. That's cool, right? We're gonna talk about the patch 4.5 notes. So I read through these earlier today, but like, I don't know, I'm kind of hoping to get some other people's insight or a lot, like, I don't know, I wanted to give my opinions on some of the stuff that's not necessarily, wasn't necessarily something I felt the need to, like, tweet about. I did tweet about the White Mage changes, because those were very, very exciting. They're not, like, super OP, but they're definitely, like, little tweaks that White Mage has needed for a very, very long time, so that is yay. We could watch the patch 4.5 trailer. I suppose we can do that, even though I don't usually watch trailers on stream. But sure, let's do a watch through of this. I'm not like loving the Actually, I should probably turn it down this way. There we go. So maybe you can possibly hear me over top of it. I don't love that we're still in like the war theme. I feel like we've had a lot of war. So it just seems very like dark and chaotic to me.
This doesn't make sense. How is it even possible?
You of all people should understand.
This dude, Solus. I'm a little confused by like that whole thing.
To return the world to the way it once was.
It's so crazy that they're gonna like sit down with the Empire. Not sure that that'll go very well though.
Will be made whole once more.
Ooh, the 24 man.
No longer will we suffer from the dissension born
Vera?
of our differences.
Oh yeah, that's the beard stubble that everybody's talking about. I feel weird about this fight. That is not what I was expecting from... It's what, like the Siri fight? Yeah, I feel like that's weird. Although I guess all of them have been kind of weird people-animal hybrid things. But I thought Siri was like a dragon more so than a snake. But I guess those are kind of the same thing.
Lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world. I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword.
It's Gaius. I wonder if they're ever gonna actually. Well, I wonder if when they'll tell us that it's
Let me go! He has
Gaius.
my brother!
Crazy eyes.
Soon, we will throw wide the gates.
Ooh, he's got some stubble in that picture too.
You will be the capstone of this world. I, the anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
That's Solus talking. Crazy-eyed Solus. Part 1, January 8th. Part 2, late March. Also, part Blue Mage next week. Alright. Oh, this has now not gone all the way to the bottom. There we go. I had to play around with my computer settings. Alright, so we watched through that. Our playable content, we're getting new quests, we're getting changes to the treasure hunt. I don't think there was anything new. Some housing. I don't know that housing is really playable content. I mean, I guess so. Grant and free companies, I suppose. It's not my idea, but of like content. Manderville Gold Saucer and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Alright. And then we're getting PvP changes, feast changes, rival wings. All of these are PvP. Like, I don't understand why PvP is separate from the 3 PvP. And the items, systems, resolved issues, and known issues. They didn't tell us anything about resolved issues. Mostly because they probably don't want us to know that they're actually issues until they're definitely gone. So we get, as expected, some new main scenario quests. We're gonna see more of this dude who is, by the way, guys, by everyone's account. There's been some good proof. I would never have come up with it myself, but I've definitely read some stuff from people. Like, it's pretty obviously guys at this point. Like, people were speculating it, and then the last, I think it was the last patch, or maybe the one before it, that people were like, no, that's definitely Gaius. So here we have, I was gonna say the Scions, but no, these are the leaders. So we've got the leader, so Ulda, Raublan, I guess, he's Alamigo now, right? But so is Elise, and then we've got Limsa. So we don't have, in this picture, Gridania represented. Did something happen with Kana Ysena? I feel like something did, but I can't remember. So our first quest is soul searching, and it starts in the Rising Stones, and then they tell us absolutely nothing about any of the other ones, because they're usually spoilery. So that's all we know. They're going to exist. Then we have Chronicles of the New Era, which is our primals. So 4 lords. And quest is Surpassing the Samurai. Starts in the Ruby Sea at Bunchin. Okay. So it's going to be at Tamamizu. You have to have cleared Suzaku, but this is just normal mode. So if you haven't done extreme, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure you have to do the extreme one for the extreme version, which I don't remember seeing that mentioned in here. But there are 2 quests, and the second one we don't know. So I don't remember if there was multiple quests for like Byaku. Hi, Idosegi, welcome. Have you read through the patch notes yourself yet? Then we have Return to Ivalice, which is our 24-man. We're going to be doing this picking up in Kugane. I don't remember who Lena Mula. So much in them. Yes, there's lots of good stuff. That's why I want to read through them again. I was rushing through them when I was eating my lunch today. I didn't have a lot of time, so I want to take the time to go through them. It takes a while to go through them, though, for sure. That's what I thought. I thought that she'd be the Mithrili reporter. And presumably... Wait, this is for Return to Ivalice. Presumably we need to complete the previous one. Although somebody was saying that... Oh, yeah, here it is. So this one, people were talking about the fact that you need to complete the Making Bacon Bread, which was sort of like I guess a side quest that was related to them. I'm pretty sure I did it though, because I do all the quests. I think I didn't do the last Hildebrand ones yet, but that's the only quest that I've not done. Almost literally the only Iblis character you actually care about. The whole story leaves you pretty cold, but you never played 12. Yeah, I mean, I played through 12. The thing is that it's not, it doesn't really have anything to do with 12. It has to do with Tactics, which I've never played. So Tactics and 12 shared the same world, but the story that they've drawn from for 14's implementation, my understanding is it comes more from Tactics, which, as I didn't play Tactics, I don't know. But yeah, people were complaining about that, but just do your quests, people. And then you never run into issues where stuff comes out and you're like, oh, how do I unlock it? I guess I have to do some silly quests. I don't know. Side story quest. So A Lone Wolf No More. This is for getting the... Can you guys hear that crackling? I'm hearing a weird crackling in my headset. Maybe it's just I don't usually hear it because I actually have sound in my headset. But this is the quest for finishing all your puppy mounts, which I'm not done. I have the Blissful Camry, how do you pronounce that? Reveling, and I just got, I want to say the Auspicious one, so I'm still missing Legendary, which is Shinryu, Lunar, which is Tsukiyomi, Euphonious, which I'm guessing is Suzaku, Suzaku, and then Hollowed, which will be from the Suryu fight, I'm guessing. But the NPC that you need does not appear until you meet all the requirements, so don't go looking for this person. Custom deliveries. This I thought was really interesting. It looks like we're getting 2 custom deliveries, or else it's just a quest that happens after custom deliveries. I guess maybe that probably makes more sense. That you do custom deliveries, and then once you reach a certain point, you get another quest. I guess that makes more sense. I was sort of thinking it was going to lock a second one, but no. But who is Ad Kriga? Does anyone know? I'm not sure who that is. Maybe I should Google that. I'm using this is terrible. I'm using Edge. Not that I usually use Chrome, but I didn't want to have like all my bookmarks and stuff cluttering up the game. So, oh yeah, it was this weird looking. Wow, that's so not helpful. He's in Idleshire. Who is this? Using Edge unfollow. I don't normally use Edge, but I wanted a browser that I didn't use. Okay, that is a actual player. This is what we want, the NPC. It's the pig looking guy, but I don't remember where he is. Like I've definitely seen this. Like who is he? Where is this? It's in Idleshire? What? Oh, I have my thing made too big so we can see this other one a bit better. Yeah, it's this weird pig guy. Oh, what is this? This must be really recent, because this is what we're getting. Anyways. So we're getting some new custom deliveries, which I will do, but aren't like super exciting to me. Blue Mage, honestly, I feel like for all that we know about Blue Mage, you just kind of have to consider it to be kind of side content. It's not like a job. It's just like its own like mini game where you can learn abilities and then use them and then do this like battle thing. That's sort of how I have to like see it in my mind. And Blue Mage is not coming out for a week, so we're not getting that one tomorrow, unfortunately. And it unlocks at the Zealous Yellow Jacket. I thought it was funny when I read you must complete the ultimate weapon, which I realized is a 2.0 ARR quest, main scenario quest. But it made me think, like, what if you have to complete the ultimate raids to unlock Blue Mage? How much would people rage at that? So we have quests we have the unlock quest, and then there's level 1 quest, level 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then apparently there's another one at level 50. And level 50 is its cap, so. And then I thought this was kind of cool. That when you complete the main scenario quest, I presume the one where you join the Grand Company is these. It's where it splits. that you get 300 grand company seals, so you can immediately purchase your chocobo, which costs 200 now. If you have not done it in a very long time, it used to be 2,000, but yeah, why not just give it to you? That would make a lot more sense. I agree. But it probably would also take a lot more coding than to just to add a 300 grand company seal reward to it. Like, it does make more sense, but like literally this is a very easy fix, and like giving you the thing. Although that could just be the reward too. Yeah, I don't know. I assume it's easier to do it this way than it is the other way. Someone was mentioning on Reddit that now we're going to get players who get the 300 grand company seals, use it to buy something else like gear, and then realize that they can't purchase their chocobo issuance. But I'm pretty sure, if I recall from doing it, they make it very clear that you can now buy a chocobo mount, and like by the time you're that level, you're like, please give me a mount so I stop running. So although I suppose if you read the storyline, they make it very clear that you should purchase a chocobo and that you want to do this. But if you don't read the content, then yes, I suppose it would be a little bit more confusing. Although is it like an actual quest? It's been a while. I've done it a few times on a couple different alts though. Additions and adjustments have been made to the rewards available. I assume they've just added in new crafting materials that'll be stupid expensive. So if you want to make money, do the hunt soon. Grand and free companies. So we can now do a few more with our adventurers squadron, which I don't do, so this is not super exciting to me. But if you do them, you can now do fractal continuous and Pharaoh serious hard. But I don't do them. Forget MSQ and raids, hit the maps as soon as maintenance. Yeah, if you want money, if money's your goal, like that's legit the right answer. But even if you do them within the first week or so, like it's pretty high. I know, like I ended up doing treasure hunts pretty early in the last patch cycle. I don't really remember why. I wasn't doing it intentionally. And I got one of the mats that was selling for a lot, and it was kind of hard to sell. Well, it wasn't hard to sell, but like people had them up for really high prices, but people weren't buying them because everybody knows that the price drops like as soon as the market gets flooded. So unless there's somebody who like absolutely wants to be like the first person to have it, willing to throw all their money at it because they're rich like me, those people might. But most people just know, like, you just have to wait for a few more to come on the market, and people will just like fall over themselves cutting each other. So yeah, it's cutthroat to try to. There is a lot of money to be made in those new mats, but you gotta be like on the ball with the market board. You gotta be constantly checking it, make sure people aren't undercutting you, and they will be. So you gotta make sure that you undercut them too, because you have to have the lowest price when that one person comes along who actually wants to buy it. Map prices seem to have stabilized. Map prices have not. Quaint trial and the mats are still ridiculous. On-screen chat is pretty cool. Clay is just saying this because he really wants me to have on-screen chat all the time. Which maybe someday. Is there a way to make the background transparent? There might be. I didn't play around with it too much. I was kind of last minute trying to get it together. It's coming down pretty far on the screen, but there's nothing on the screen. I mean, there's no problem right now because you're not missing out on anything. It's not going to come down over my face. Don't worry. Don't worry. I set that up. But yeah, no, Clay's always telling me that I should put chat on, which I'm kind of thinking about doing it because the whole reason that I didn't was... Is something beeping? Is that you? No, that's Arthur squeaking. Okay. The reason I didn't was because I'm always like, oh, if I want to make like videos of my gameplay and like don't want my webcam or like Twitch stuff, then all I have to do is like crop out like this bottom area of my screen, and like everything else is just pure gameplay. But I don't actually do that, and I've been streaming for like we're coming up on 4 years now, so I feel like I should just stop streaming with the intention of doing things that I'll probably never do, and just like embrace that I'm just gonna stream and put chat on my stream. my screen. But yeah, there's different options for putting chat on. This is just, I literally already had this one set up, so I just added it in, but I didn't play around with it very much. All right, what do we have for grand and free company? Okay, we were just reading this. So we're getting, if you do squadron dungeons, do these. I need to do them at some point because there are achievements for them, but I don't get any XP for it because all my jobs are 70 and like yeah, when 5.0 comes out, I can do it and get some XP for my classes, but at that point like it's so little that it's useless. So I basically just have to do it for my love of running dungeons, which I can tell you I don't have a love of running dungeons that makes me want to run them with my squadrons. So we don't do them. New craftable items have been added to the company workshop. I really need to like build another like airship or a submarine, which we totally can do. We just need to gather the mats and then gather 4 people to sit around and do them, and I'm just lazy. That's my bad. Someday. Following additions have been made to subaquatic voyages. You can go new places, you can get new items, and the maximum rank. I don't even know what this means with the rank, because we don't have one. We're not in Japan, so it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure that I read that there is still the timer for auto demolition on the North American servers is still paused, like that it is currently paused, and they're not. Let's see what it. Oh no! Stop! I'm gonna open that in a new page. Stop, please. Yeah, it doesn't say anything else. All right. And we get new furniture, which I'm actually, is everything in here new? Like, this is new. I know this thing on the table is new. This paint set's new. These boxes are definitely not new. I'm pretty sure the easel's not. I think this thing hanging back here is. I'm not sure what this, this table thing here is new. It looks like it should be multiple things because it seems very not one single thing. Like these 2 middle pieces go together, but like this corner piece does not. And like then you've got like a fireplace, which I suppose goes with that, but it's weird. And then the wall, is that new in the window? Like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure everything but these boxes might be new. And maybe we definitely have this like end table-y thing here. We have something that's very similar. There is a kitchen counter, but it's just one straight line. Yeah, I don't know. I find this thing very weird. I'm not sure I'm a fan. Like, it looks cool, but like I feel like it's very limited in what you can do with it because it's so bizarre. Apparently we're getting a fat cat and some little stand. Is this a stand like that you can put the little things on? Because that's pretty big if that's what those are. Because those look tiny there. And then fat cat is goddamn huge. Is that a fat cat step? Like, or is that a couch? Wait, is that a couch? Somebody was saying it was a couch. Is that totally a fat cat couch? That's ridiculous. If it is. And then this is pretty cool. For the garden. I don't think this is new because we definitely had a well before, but I'm not sure it had all this stuff. I've made a bunch of them. Sofa, couch, they're like the same thing. Tell me the difference. Are these stacks of wood supposed to be new? Because I know we have stacks of wood, but they definitely don't look like that. So I think these are new stacks of wood. People were super excited about this, which I kind of am. Is this like all one big piece though? And like, how do you even place it? And like stuff goes underneath it? I'm just confused, but this is cool. Especially because I could never get the loft glitch to work. So I try, if anyone's been in my house, I have a stage that's like shoved off to one side and in a weird angle, and that looks wall mounted. Could be. That would be, yeah, because, well, I mean, these things I don't know if they would be placeable on surfaces, but like all this stuff is, I guess, I don't know how all that stuff works. Is this thing new? This little bucket? I don't recall seeing that before, and this like hanging stuff on the wall. And I think like all of these things up here are new, but this pile of plushes are not. The limit on the number of interactive furnishings that can be displayed has been removed. I know a lot of people are really happy about that. I never placed that many, so that doesn't really affect me. But I do believe I went into someone's house once and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then you like move around and you're like, oh, you just have a really large number of interactive items. All right. And apparently this was a 32-bit operating system limitation. And now that they're getting rid of that, we can have everything display all at once. Precision with furnishing. So now where you place stuff, it will stay. There was a little bit where, depending on where you placed it, sometimes it would snap to a different spot. Afterwards, there were actually some interesting things you could do with that snapping feature, but other times it was just annoying. Mannequins, not super excited about mannequins. I don't have any set up, but they do look pretty fancy. And this, I think, this Lalafell is wearing like a new coat, which that coat's actually pretty cute. But I'm pretty sure the rest of this gear is old. I don't know about these pants, but everything else looks pretty familiar. New estate tags. My estates, neither of them have any tags. I'm not super excited about this, but apparently you can have a cafe now, which, fun story, my first house was a cafe, mostly because I didn't want to buy furniture off the market board, and tables and chairs were really easy to make for very little money. So you can be a florist, a photo studio. Florist is weird. I don't know anyone who's done that. Jump puzzle tag went, oh, you're right, Clay. You're so right. That is what we would tag it. You're already always afraid to enter the RP style estates. You know what? I've been to a couple of the cafes that people like shout. They're like, hey, we're having a cafe. And I've always been really weirded out by the like buying food where they like come up and they're like, here's the menu. And they tell you what's on it. And then you're like, oh, I want this. And they're like, it costs this much. And you like give them like some unreasonable amount of gil for the item, and then they leave, and then they come back and give it to you, and like, I don't know, I guess I'm just not an RPer, because I've always been like, why am I doing this? This is dumb. So that's sort of how I feel about that. The photo studio is cool, because I have seen people set up, like post on Reddit and that they've set up cool photo studios. I don't know that anyone like shares them usually, but maybe. Learn to immersion. I know. It's just not me, guys. It's just not me. A library. Yeah, I guess people can definitely have a library, although it sucks because you can't like ever check anything out, which makes it less of a library and more of just like, look at all my books. And a haunted house. We could call ours a haunted house and just be like, it's actually a jumping puzzle, but it's cool and you should do it. What do you think, Clay? Newer custom rolls, they haven't told us anything about it. This I was actually really, really excited to buy because I've spent more time in my inn now since you have to go there to do the glamour prisms, and it frustrates me that I can't teleport from inside of it. Speaking of libraries, if they don't give you the Scholastic bookcases as housing items, you're gonna riot. Oh, I don't remember what they look like, but I'm down for that. I'm down. See, now here's an idea. Is that to my haunted house one? And you're sad that it's not your own idea? And eternity rings, Clay, I can teleport to you from my inn room now. We can collect orchestrion rolls. Why can't we collect tomes, as in the readable books with random side? Yeah! Oh my god, that would be amazing. That would be so cool. That would actually be really neat. I would like that. Aquariums have new fish. I put an aquarium in once. I'm actually not a big fan of the aquariums, so I don't use them. New aquarium tank trimmings have been added. Those trees are actually kind of cool looking. I actually like that. It's an interesting setup. Maybe I should look into those more. Maybe I'd like a aquarium more if it had different trimmings. New seeds for flower pots have been added. Oh, those are pretty. Lily of the Valley pips. I'm slightly traumatized by the word lily because fuck white mage lilies. You can buy them. Note, you can buy them, guys. Don't buy them off the market board. They'll be stupidly overpriced. Buy them from the material supplier. This was interesting that they've given us mahjong. Do I pronounce that terribly? Might be nice for a corsage. They're so little though. I guess it would be just like a little like cluster corsage. Which I'm kind of excited to play, although I don't know that I know how to play this game properly. Because I definitely have only played it like a single player version. So I don't know how to play a 4-player version. Actually, no, maybe I have played a multiplayer. I guess I've only played it solo, maybe against a computer. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I'm excited to play. I feel like that's something that I will do. 4 players gather tiles and race to complete a winning hand. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And then I don't want to read through all the information about it, but I am excited to play it. Although I want to point out down here, match length. If a single hand lasts more than 80 minutes, the following hand will be the last one played. Matches will end automatically after 2 goddamn hours. So this is not something that's going to go by quickly. This is going to be you sit down and you play a game. Although I'm hoping that those are like super long numbers, but those are high. That's a lot. Like that's a single hand lasting for an hour and 20 minutes. Like I don't even know. Anyways. Also, don't abandon it. You lose. So now they changed the name of it. So the Manderville Lounge is now the Manderville Tables. They also added Air Force One, which I'm pretty excited to try doing. A shooter ride wherein players board the Air Force and attempt to shoot as many targets as possible while riding along a preset course. Apparently, shooting ruby bombs lowers your score, so don't do it. But you can't get less than 0, which is nice. So you'll get at least 100 MGP from it. But I think that's fun. It looks like it starts the same place as Leap of Faith, so, and also is a zone thing. So I think that's just the entrance to like instanced gates. Although I'm really sad that they're instanced, because that means you can't do them while you're in a party or waiting in Duty Finder, and like that would be, I wish I could go do Leap of Faith more, but usually I'm in a party when I want to do it. So now it alternates. We get Cliffhanger or Air Force One or Leap of Faith on the hour. At the 20 minutes, we get Any Way the Wind Blows or Air Force One or Leap of Faith. And then 40 minutes, we get Any Way the Wind Blows, Skin Change We Can Believe In, or Leap of Faith. So basically, you get Air Force One and you get Leap of Faith in all of them, Air Force One in 2 of them, Any Way the Wind Blows in 2 of them, and then Cliffhanger and Skin Change. And they have removed the Time of My Life, which I hated that one, so I'm actually quite happy that it's gone, because I was always sad when that one was up, because it just took too much time and wasn't fun. And apparently there's not enough space for all the races anymore, so you sometimes would get unlucky and your race would not be represented on it, which people are speculating that given that we're getting a new race in 5.0, that gate's just not feasible anymore. New prizes. So this is amount. My word on the street, it's going to cost more than 1 million MGP, which means I will not be getting it right away, but I will definitely be saving up. I'm hoping that's wrong and that it won't be any more than 1 million MGP, but I think somebody said from the live letter or something, or an interview, that it was going to be more expensive than Fenrir. New cards, yay, I'll battle some more NPCs. I still am working on gathering cards. I don't work on that very often. One of the things that I was like reading through these patch notes, I'm like, oh my god, there's still so many things that I want to do before 5.0 that I'm not gonna have enough time. I don't understand how people get bored of this game. It's because they don't do like even a fraction of what's available, because I try to do everything and I'm just overwhelmed still. And I play a fair bit. I play like 4 hours a day most days, except I take 1 day off a week, but I do play additionally usually on the weekend offline. So I think I probably average like 4. Well, I suppose that's not true, because there's 2 nights a week that I only raid. And those nights are only like 2 hours or so. People figure Savage raiding is all there is. Yeah, I mean, I get if people say like they're just not interested in the other content, but to say that there isn't enough content in 14, I think is just like a lie, because there is so much content to do. And you can say you just aren't interested in all the content, but you can't say that it's not there. All that stuff is just boring. Yeah, no, and that's fair. That's a fair argument. You can say that all the other content is boring, but if you want to say that that it doesn't exist, then you're just wrong. You can filter complete or incomplete on your challenge log. I don't ever care about my challenge log because I don't need XP for anything, and they give me pathetic amounts of gil occasionally when I do complete them, and I'm like, yay, 1,000 gil, which is like enough for one teleport. So mostly I just don't care. You have way too much to do, but you're a filthy casual. I mean, I'm not a filthy casual. I'm sort of a filthy casual. You have a lot to do by yourself. Clay, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I feel like you're being sad. You're like, oh, I have to do stuff by myself. I don't want to do things, which is fair. Just fair. New challenge log objectives have been added, probably related to, wait, what? Probably related to Mahjong? Oh, you have a lot to do. Okay, I can't read, Clay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't read. Clay, so I'm sorry. I'm reading off of my, because I'm down a monitor today because I haven't set up my third monitor with my new computer yet. And so I'm reading the chat in that pops up in Streamlabs, and I'm finding the text a little small, and it's making my eyes hurt. I wonder if there's a way I can increase the size. Surely there is. Set font. Oh wait, set font size. This. Oh yeah, I can't click on it. You think those are the Scholastica bookcases? Oh yeah. They don't look like the mounted ones. No, you're right. These don't look like any bookcases I've seen. But do you think this is just in the Scholastica, and for some reason they just took a screenshot there, or is this someone's house? They added more adjustments to Wondrous Tales, but didn't really tell us anything, except that you can now do Omega Alpha Escape for Wondrous Tales objectives when they pop up. We got a new emote, not sure what that is. Doesn't look super exciting to me, but I'll probably try to get it. Bunch of emotes cause your character to face the target if it's in your line of sight. New hairstyles, so these are the character hairstyles from Alma and Ramza in the Iblis 24-man stuff. I actually was looking at it. I'm not a super big fan of this hairstyle. Like, the ponytail's cute, but the bangs are just, like, ugly in my opinion. And the speculation is that they're locked to male and female, so female characters can only get this one and male characters can only get that one instead of being able to do both. Although I feel like both these hairstyles would go very well on both male and female, but the speculation is that it is not, because they've not shown it to us yet on the opposite sex. Blue Mage, more Blue Mage stuff. Blue Mage isn't coming out for another week, so I'm gonna kind of not look super detailed into Blue Mage. But given that it's next week, maybe I'll spend more time on it. Does anyone want me? Doesn't Male have that ponytail in the story? Maybe. Does anybody want me to go into detail on Blue Mage? Like, I can, but I just personally kind of want to gloss over it because it's a lot of information that is not relevant this week. Yeah. The action. So, I actually realized that these weren't as exciting as they initially seem, although they kind of are. But basically, they've changed the potency for Monk on all their abilities, but only when they don't hit the what's the positional. When they don't hit their positionals. This is where you should. I mean, you're welcome to come on Voice Clay, but you said you didn't want to. Well, you actually didn't say anything, but I assume that meant you didn't want. Oh, it looks like maybe you did say something. Yes, you did, but. Eidoseki, it's not rip positionals. It's so that you're not. So people pointed out it's so apparently. There's a lot. Monks are having a hard time in AlphaScape with a lot of the movements because it's not possible to keep up their positionals all the time, and there's not enough True North to cover the times that they can't. And also people pointed out that it'll help out when I love that I just say what other people said because I have no opinions of my own. But I have some opinions on my own, but not on Monk. But people also pointed out that it'll help out with Monk when they're doing like solo content where you can't do your positionals because you always have to hit from the front. But for everyone, there is a 1% Fists of Fire damage increase. And then this was where you have no opinions either. You'll never level a melee up. I have leveled it. I actually am not terrible at Monk. Well, I don't know. My damage is probably terrible, but I feel like I'm not terrible at Monk. I kind of understand how to do it. This is what I was super excited about. And like initially like reading enmity reduce, it was like, okay, well, that's great because I know like enmity is not so much of an issue on white mage that you can't work around it, but I've definitely been feeling more that I have to use my lustrate for, wait, lustrate? Is that the word? Lucid dreaming, sorry, not lustrate. My lucid dreaming specifically to drop enmity rather than for mana purposes, which is weird to me. So I feel like enmity has become a little bit more of an issue, although I assumed it was just because my tanks didn't want to properly raise their aggro. But of note, like astrologians have reduced aggro automatically due to being in one of their stances, and scholars because like half their healing at least is from their fairy, which means they don't, so they just have like less enmity. Like it's not an issue because they're not doing a lot of the healing. So that is exciting, basically everything. And then Assize, this is the greatest thing, because Assize is literally like the greatest ability ever. They reduce our cast time, so we'll be able to spam it every 45 seconds instead of every 60 seconds, which is actually a pretty significant increase. That will be several more times over the course of a fight, depending on the length of it. Potency has been increased from 300 to 400 for the damage, and the healing potency has also been increased from 300 to 400. So not only can we use it more, but it does more damage and more healing. If only it gave us more mana too. But I'm pretty sure that's a different potency and not related to the healing or damage, so it's definitely not increased. And then PI I'm really excited about. They've reduced the enmity, that's nice. The duration, though, has been increased from 10 to 30 seconds. Yeah, it's a lot. A lot more damage. Somebody said the math worked out to an extra stone 4's worth of damage every minute, I want to say. Is what it maths out to. Although, as I noted and Clay noted, not here, to me privately, was that I'm really bad at lining up my Assize with raid buffs, but Assize did actually line up nicely with raid buffs, and the change from 60 to 45 seconds will mean that it does not always line up with raid buffs. However, for my case where I didn't, because I always use it like right at the start of the fight, which means and people don't put raid buffs up until like another, like a GCD or two into it usually, before they're all up. So that meant my Assize missed them all, which meant if I used it on cooldown, it was probably missing all of them. But I feel like it being reduced from 60 to 45 seconds, there might be a point later on in the fight where they start lining up again, or where it like it'll be off, and then it'll be like, oh, it lines up, and then off. Whereas I feel like probably all of mine were not lining up prior, just due to how it lines up. And then PI. So for anyone who doesn't understand how PI works, because I feel like a lot of people don't. You get PI stacks from your AoE heals only, and only if they actually do healing. So if you heal someone with an AoE and it doesn't actually heal for any amount of health, you don't get a stack for it. So that meant like it would, and you'd get a stack and it would last for 10 seconds. And if within those 10 seconds you cast another AoE heal that actually healed them, you would get, it would give you a second stack, and it would reset your timer to 10 seconds again. And you do that 3 times, which means that like say you did it at like 9 seconds every time, the maximum length of time you'd have to use your PI, to build and use your PI stacks would be like a little bit less than 30 seconds, because you couldn't, like, it'd be pretty hard to do it right at 10 10 every time. So say it would be like, you have like 28 seconds. So you have your first one, and you have 10 seconds until that wears off. And then you have your second one, and you have about 10 seconds till that wears off. And then you have your third one, and you have about 10 seconds till that wears off. But likely you're not spacing out your heals that perfectly because you're just healing what needs to be healed, and no one is, because of how it works, like you couldn't plan your heals to build stacks. You just have to kind of be like, okay, well, I have to do this heal. Can I fit it in so that it gets me my stacks in a way that I can use them later on? Which very, very rarely did that work out. I know in Omega male female, there's this one part where I cast a heal at a very specific time because it means if I cast Medica 2 then my PI stacks haven't fallen off by the time the damage goes out, and right after the damage goes out I can use it to give that 150 potency. But I've been getting frustrated because my co-healer tends to heal there too, and because I'm trying to push mine super late, theirs comes, because they're trying to put out shields for that same damage, their heals often go out before mine and end up topping people up, which when people get topped up, then they don't get PI stacks from me. And yeah. Oh no, like PI is gonna be a huge difference. It's gonna like actually be usable now. Like before there was like super small edge cases, which I'm telling you about like one edge case that I had been trying to use it in, and like just due to how it works, it was getting less and less doable. One time that I really like it in this raid tier is in Midgard, where you have the part where you have an Akmorn stack followed by the spread, where everyone gets a marker and you have to spread. If I can use the PI stacks that I build during AoE healing from the Akmorn to heal the AoE damage that goes out after it, but that's like the only time that is actually like really useful. And I've been trying to, I actually overheal that Akmorn, and but you kind of have to. I don't know. I'm still, because I don't know. It's confusing because I'm like, oh, people aren't dead, but then you have to make sure they're topped up because they need to be topped up for that damage that comes out afterwards, and and I need to build the stacks for PI, and it's just weird. But yeah, that's the one place that I'm like, yes, I'm actually using PI to its best use, but I don't think I'm doing the most efficient healing that I could be doing there. But I do think that is a one spot where PI actually is useful. It's just whether you have 2 or 3 stacks that's the question. So, but basically with 30 seconds, you could have up to almost 2 minutes to build your PI stacks and use them, which PI itself has a 1 minute cooldown, which means that like if you have to heal again like right after you use PI, you could still hold those stacks over if the timing lines up until PI is up again. Whereas right now, like so many times I'm just like, oh, I have stacks, but PI is still on cooldown, so rip my stacks because they're falling off now. And so many other times, like I build to 3 stacks, but then by the time I've healed to 3 stacks, nobody needs healing anymore. I made the comparison in my raid static when I was talking about it to in dungeons when you're on the last boss and you're watching the LB gauge and you're like, we're almost to 2 bars for our LB, and you're like, do I use it now at 1 or do I wait for 2? But by the time you wait for 2, by the time you get to LB bars for your LB, the boss's health is so low that you don't need that much damage. Like it's overkill. And that's kind of the same with PI. Like by the time you build, if you're trying for 3 stacks, by the time you build to 3 stacks with the old system where you had to do it within like 10 seconds of each other, by the time you cast that many AoE heal spells, like your party is going to be topped up outside of very, very small edge cases. I know like 08 Savage, Kefka, God Kefka, there was some nasty healing parts in there that were actually really good for using PI because you just did a shit ton of healing. So having that extra pop was useful, but it was still hard to like time it out properly to get actual like 3 stack PI used when people actually needed 3 stacks of PI's worth of healing. Like it was tricky, and like I would try to like move my heals around to be more efficient, then I'm like, oh no, I just fucked up my PI timing and now I can't use PI anymore. So like that doesn't work, because like losing, I forget what PI is, but I think it's like 600 or something stupid. If you have, it's like 500 or 600 at 3 stacks. Like it's really good when you have 3 stacks, but it's just so hard to get them and at a time that you need to use them. And this is going to make that so much easier to do. So I'm very excited about this change. And then they made some changes to machinists, which I can't really talk about, but they're getting some serious, it's all potency increases, so they're going to be doing more damage. Excuse me. And then True North. This should excite Clay, but the recast time is from 150 seconds to 90. So be able to do it instead of, how many, like, that's every 2.5 minutes. You can do it every 1.5 minutes. Hey, Ari! Flying text for pets. People also pointed out you'll be able to see how much your Earthly Star does now, because Earthly Star damage counts as pet damage, which I have sometimes wished that I could see that properly, and now I will be able to. So, enemy placement has been changed in the following areas. I'm really interested as to what this means, but it probably means a whole lot of nothing. But why they felt the need to move enemies around in 3 Thanalan zones, 1 Lenosia zone, and Mordona is interesting. Wait, a lot of these class changes don't matter, but hopefully people stop. All of them matter, Ari. I don't know why you think they don't matter, because all of them are pretty significant for the people that it affects. Like they're not going to give us crazy changes, but like to say that they don't matter is silly, because they're going to make a big difference for those classes, and some players of those classes more than others. Yeah, the size change alone is huge. 5.0 is in a few months, but like now's the time. Like this is what they did at the end of Heavensward too. They gave more massive changes. Like yes, they're gonna change them back, but in the meantime, we have some fun stuff. And like some of these changes might carry over to. Yeah, we still have like 5 months. It's a long time. Hello, 911 white mage changes. Hey, John. But yeah, no, people are gonna have fun with this stuff for a long time. It's one of those things that just like they can be a little bit more generous with their buffs to classes. It's like the same thing they did. I feel like white mage is getting not exactly, but sort of the same treatment that Astro got at the end of Heavensward, where they're like, no one's playing Heavensward. Let's just buff the shit out of balance so people actually want Astrologians, and then everybody wanted to play Astrologian. But like that was a really that came out about the same time, I think, didn't it? It was really late in Heavensward that they buffed the balance, and then they left it in for the very start of Stormblood and just reverted it later. So some of this stuff might very well carry into Stormblood. Others might be completely overhauled by like the Stormblood changes to be where we don't even need them anymore. Why no buffs for ninjas? I don't think they have any issue with people not playing ninja. They have an issue with people not wanting to play ninja, because apparently people don't find ninja very fun, but like everybody wants a ninja. Balance was broken for a long time. Ari, why are you so negative about all these changes? Like, the game changes constantly, and we get buffs and nerfs all the time. Like, I, for one, am going to embrace these white mage changes while we have them. Also, the enmity changes, I don't see them ever reverting, unless they do something in 5.0 that makes enmity much less of a issue for white mage, but then it doesn't make any sense to revert them. Like, I feel like these enmity reductions are definitely gone for good, and then the rest of it is just, it's going to be tweaked. Like, I don't see them reducing. You're totally being negative. You almost never see them in DF. That's because, yeah, people want ninjas. Like, it's not an issue that people don't want ninjas. It's that people don't want to play ninja. But like, I want to play white mage, but people don't want white mages. And that was the same thing with Astro. Like back in Heavensward, like people wanted to play Astro, but nobody wanted to actually, or people wanted to play Astro, but nobody wanted them in their party. So they gave them a buff where suddenly Astro became desirable. You'll probably try Machinist yourself, but you've heard so many horror stories about it. I actually had fun when I was playing Machinist. Like, I don't know, people said they just don't like how it plays, but I actually kind of liked it. Buffs and cool are all, but they're literally just going to rebalance this all later, and people will get mad that they buff stuff only to nerf it again. I mean, people are going to get mad anyways, but as I say, I for one am excited to have some fun with size and PI while it lasts. I honestly don't believe that they're going to make major nerfs to those, because they were, I mean, a size didn't really need a buff. I'm actually kind of shocked that they buffed a size, and I feel like that's probably just to make people want white mages a little bit more. But PI was a change that we like desperately needed, because people just think PI is useless. And they eventually accepted that lilies were useless and just took them away from us, which I was thankful for because they really were useless. But PI was the other thing. Like, so many white mages just don't even understand how to use it. And you know what? Even if they end up reverting it later, if all this does is get people to be more aware of their PI because, like, suddenly it's actually useful. Because that's sort of what happened to Astro. Like, everybody loves Astro because of balance, and people played it and started getting good at it, and people got used to playing with Astros. And now, even though they reverted it, people still really want Astros because, like, I mean, 10% balance is still really good, but it took 20% for people to actually realize, like, hey, no, let's bring some Astros along. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to say, Clay. They're gonna rebalance things regardless. Things are always gonna get buffs. They're always gonna get nerfs. Like, this game is going to be a constant readjustment of, like, everything. And if they're trying to play with stuff just to see how it flies before some Stormblood changes that they're thinking of, or it's literally just like, here, let people have some fun at the end of Stormblood when it doesn't matter because all the raid content's over, like, I'm all for that. You're mad that Summoner and Black Mage didn't get anything. Well, I mean, you've gotten stuff before. Like, White Mage has not gotten any. White Mage, up until this point, has, well, I'll say with the exception of some of the Lily changes, but those I feel like sit in a different category. But with the exception of the Lily changes, which only made things usable without being stupid annoying, this is the first time White Mage has ever been buffed. White Mage has only ever been nerfed in the past. Like, White Mages have gotten nerf after nerf after nerf, and finally White Mage is getting some love, so please. White Mage needed this. White Mages needed a little bit of a buff because we've just been nerfed so much over the years. Had so much stuff taken away from us. All we've gotten was lilies, which were the most useless thing, which they acknowledged by eventually just like pulling lilies and being like, okay, we get it. We fucked up in how we tried to implement lilies. It just doesn't work. So we'll make it so you don't need them. But then, like, all we've gotten, basically the change to lilies, all that does is allow us to use Divine Benison. Like, I mean, I guess the other changes, like, there's some passive stuff that happens, but it's A, not gameplay, and B, doesn't really make a huge difference. Red Mage got changes last patch. Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember all the changes for jobs that I don't play. I just know that White Mage has gotten a lot of nerfs over the years, and you don't want to hear a sob story from White Mage. Let me remind you of 3.x Paladin and Monk mains. Hi Winter. All right, I'm skipping around in chat here. 5.0, Astrologian can sacrifice 15% of their HP to draw a card of their choice. Oh man, I would do it. Why should Black Mages have all the fun with Convert? Because everyone else has MP regen tools. Black Mages totally have MP regen tools. Black Mages have the best regen tool. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Or are you saying Red Mage doesn't have regen tools? I'm confused about what this conversation was about. Lily's made terrible choices. What's a Lily? They're just cooldown lowers, yeah. Which, wait, didn't Lily's already alter a size cooldown? Does that mean, like, in theory, we could reduce it even further if we actually ever cast, like, single target cure and cure 2s? Because, like, I do cast those sometimes. I'm trying very hard not to. You're distressingly sure 5.0 will add a healer and push White Mage even further to the fringes. Yeah. Yeah. Hand in your notice today? So when are you done, Winter? He's talking about convert and why only Black Mage gets it. Oh. Black Mage has Blizzard 3. LOL. If you cast it with 3 lilies, it's a short cooldown, yeah. Drawing a card of your choice is so powerful you should have to pay a penalty for it. I hope 5.0 healer is chemist. Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of half expecting them to be like, surprise, we're still just going to add a bunch more DPS classes. But you're done the end of January. Nice. But I feel like there's a lot of players who really wanted a tank and healer last time and were like, okay, well, if you're just giving us a DPS this time, it's okay. But you better give us tank and healer next time. But I don't know. Like, they would have to do something really interesting with either a tank or a healer to justify adding a new class, because I'm not entirely sure what. I mean, I guess there's probably a lot of options that they could do, but personally, I don't really care because I just want to play White Mage forever. So yeah, I don't want them to add a new thing that's gonna push White Mage even further out. Although I should just embrace Astro one of these days and be like, I guess I'm an Astro now. But White Mage is just so good for prog, and it's just so good for doing fights that you just like don't know very well, and so good for like scraping people up when shit hits the fan. I know, White Mage isn't even in a bad spot, but like everybody thinks it does. I feel like something like Dancer as a healer would be interesting. The idea of a melee healer too, I find interesting. I mean, they did the red mage thing. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like because Square, like Final Fantasy 11 or Final Fantasy 14 is just very like there's not a lot that you can do within the confines of how we do fights and how parties are put together. Like DPS, it's easy to just be like, oh, you just do DPS in a different way, but like healing and tanking are a bit more like niche things, and they have to be able to do certain things. You can't just be like, push this button and you do this much damage, and if you combine these damages, this is what your damage will be, and like we'll just balance that out so everybody does about the same amount of damage. Like the healing is just more, I feel like it's more complicated than that. Maybe. They're never going to break out of the Trinity, and I don't want them to. I personally don't like games that don't have the Trinity, because I like playing healing / support classes, and so a game where there is no healing / support class, like I don't even want to play. They've already kind of broken the Trinity a little bit by how much damage healers and tanks can do, because they're like everyone is a DPS. And like pure DPSs do DPS and more DPS, and tanks do DPS and hold aggro and try to take less damage, and healers do DPS and heal people when they need it. Like, so it's already that everybody does a little bit of different things, but I still like that everyone has like their own like role. Positional heals, no, fuck that. No. I'm happy that I can just not play melee classes and never have to care about positionals. Sob, I don't know real pain. Get out of here, Clay. Real pain is your level 70 ability being 4.0 PI. Honestly, like lilies were terrible, but PI was just, the only issue with PI is that it's really niche ability, and that I feel like a lot of the complaints people have with PI is from people who don't raid, because in raid, PI is useful. Outside of raid, PI is not useful. And like as much as I struggle to find useful like times where I mean I can always make use of it in raid. There's times where it's definitely more useful and less useful, but I struggle in dungeons to even make use of it. So it's just one of those things that if you don't raid, you probably have never really used PI because it's just been such like a wonky thing to use. Let's see. Another talking point next time you're on voice. Clay, I think you're saying that's a talking point for our future podcast. Evasion tank. Yeah, evasion tank probably won't be a thing in this game. I don't think that they liked that that the players did that in 11 with Ninja, so I don't think they'll give us any chance of going down that road again. You would love if everything in the game didn't revolve around DPS all day, every day. You know what? The problem with the reason why that's a thing is because they made parties of 4 players, of 4 classes. If we had more classes in a party, you could actually there'd be a lot more flexibility in what like each slot could bring to the party. But I mean, when half your party isn't a DPS, like they have to, the other half has to do some DPS. Like if all your DPS came from half your party, that would just be ridiculous. Let's see. Maybe Dancer will buff everyone else's DPS so much that they don't actually DPS and just keep up with Dance. That would have to be like insane though. And if you think about it, in a 4-person party, like if one of your DPS didn't do any DPS, they would have to make the other DPS do twice as much damage. And then if you put that in an 8-man party, that would just be OP. Like that sort of thing just wouldn't make sense in how you go from 4-man parties to 8-man parties, because it would just have to be way too strong in 4-mans, and then it would just be like overly strong in 8-mans. You're looking forward to Blue Mage forcing people outside. Yeah, I'm actually interested with that. A lot of people are liking that. I'm not interested to see what people do with Blue Mage and if people legit hate that you can't actually play it. I really just think of, I said it earlier, but I really just think of Blue Mage as like side content. It's not a job. It's just like side content. You can play Blue Mage, but like it's not a job. It's just like a game. Blue Mage is a game in my mind. The extension on confession stacks will make it more universal. Yes, that is what like. So I really think that even if they end up nerfing it later on, if all we get from this PI buff is that people learn how to use PI, then they've done good. Then it accomplished what it needed to. You hope the duration of confessions will be a decent increase. It is. It's 30 seconds. From 10 seconds to 30 seconds. Like that is absolutely like insane. Like it doesn't sound like that much, but like the time is like tripled. Like more than it goes from, so I'm like, unless my math is wrong and I'm bad at math, so bear with me, but it went from like having a window of less than 30 seconds to build and use your stacks to a window of less than 2 minutes to build and use your stacks. That is a huge increase in usability. People are outside a bit more than you realize. You do see lots of bodies. Source I'm doing Atla books and regretting life choices. Blue Mage is the same as Eureka or Deep Dungeon or Maps content. Yeah. I was saying that PI, it's not that it's not good, it's just that its utility is very limited, because even in Savage raiding, it's really hard to build up to 3 stacks. Outside of Savage raiding, you just never cast that much AoEs. Like, I can go an entire dungeon and never cast an AoE heal. Like, when would I ever use PI stacks? But a lot of it is just because they're so useless outside of raid. It's just like, whenever you cast an AoE heal, unless literally that topped your party up, just pop PI right afterwards. Like it's just a free extra potency on your other AoE. Like there's no reason not not to. Oh my god. I have like, I don't know. I feel like I was like inhaling pepper from my dinner. It'll get more play across the board because you wouldn't touch it if it was actually a caster job for normal content. Yeah. I mean, I think Clay said this later on. I'm gonna wait till I get there. Ari's also doing Atma and hates himself. Yeah, the game is good at offering something for everyone. There is a lot of content. As I was saying earlier, if you do all the content, there's so much content. If you don't do all the content, you're gonna run out of things to do. You're off to bed, Winter? Alright, good night. But yeah, so what did Clay say? Some people just get to 70 and leave it. This person does that. At least this way anyone can play it if they want to experience the content solo or not. Yeah. For me, because I just love leveling jobs and I love like completioning things. So the idea, like Blue Mage, I feel like is just absolutely perfect for me. Like I get to level another job, I get to collect all their abilities. Like I will totally do that and enjoy doing it because those are things I like to enjoy. I like to enjoy. Those are things that I enjoy. But I have no interest in playing it at 70, so it's fine to me that it doesn't go to 70, and it's fine to me that you can't play it in real content, because I don't want to play it in real content. You're excited about Blue being limited the way it is, something else to do, yeah. But I also feel for people who really just wanted to be a Blue Mage, and that they can't be a Blue Mage in their normal playing. Like, if you want to be a Blue Mage main, you can't do that. Because you just can't do any of the content. Any of the other content is Blue Mage. You have to level something else. Alright, we already read this is where we got sidetracked, didn't it? We were talking about why the enemy placement was changed. The new dungeon, Gimlet Dark, which is going to be the war. Is that what I gather? There's a quest. New trials. Is this Siriu? Is this snake person Siriu? Or is this just like something else? You just won't abandon limited jobs like Diadem and Edgy Glamours. Yeah. Oh my god. All I want from in life is for Diadem to be uncapped. Like, please. Like, it doesn't need to sit there and rot. Just uncap it, and then we can go in and solo shit. And like maybe someday we'll be a high enough level / eye level that we can do the that mission thing. What's it called? With some amount of people that's feasible to put together. So yeah, we are getting Siriu. Lots and lots of Siriu. Speak with the Wandering Minstrel in Kugane to do Savage. Or to do Extreme. None of the Extreme ones are dependent on each other, right? Like, you just have to complete the normal and you can unlock the Extreme. And if you haven't done the previous Extreme, it doesn't matter, right? They don't seem to like going back. See, I don't expect them to go back to it. I don't expect them to spruce it up. Don't change anything. Just remove the level cap from it. That's all they need to do. Like, otherwise it just sits there and rots. Like, it just sits and rots. For no reason. When they could just unsync it. Because there's no reason to do it at level 60. There's no reason at all. Like, just unsync Diadem so people can go in and do whatever they want with it. Like, there's no reason why it needs to be synced. Like, it's my same argument, but like a million times more as to why I feel like they should unsync the ultimate fights. But like, I understand why the ultimate fights are left synced, but there is zero reason to leave the stupid Diadem synced. There's no reason for it. Just unsync that shit already so I can go get my achievements. Now people get the Echo and Hell's Gear, both normal and extreme. You can now spam the shit out of Alphascape normal to get all the gear upgrades. So if you want to gear some alts or if you're not geared on your main yet. But the crystalloids are still once a week, but now you only need 4 of them. We have a 24-man coming. And there's a quest for it. And it's basically everything is the same for it. Tsukiyomi and I Oh yeah, just Tsukiyomi. Oh yeah, no, here it is. Tsukiyomi mount, and I'm assuming this is the, oh yeah, healthcare. The Suzaku mount have been increased. I assume that Tsukiyomi was that Hell's Cure will become what Tsukiyomi was, and Tsukiyomi will get even better. Yakety Sax? What? You need to go grind a summoner weapon. Because I'm pretty sure they'd already buffed Tsukiyomi at some point. I don't think it had as bad of a drop rate as Suzaku, but I could be wrong. We already had a discussion about this on Discord because Ari was confused. But just to be clear, this does not mean you can add more than 4 party members to the Great Hunt Extreme. For some reason they made it, and I think it's due to how like the deaths and work in it. They had made it so if you joined it through DF, so if you use Duty Finder to join the Great Hunt, and it put 4 people in it in your party, and then one of them left, unlike every other Duty Finder content, you couldn't just get an in progress queue person to replace that person. You'd never get a 4th member. You'd just be done. So all this is saying is now if you join via Duty Finder and somebody leaves, you can replenish your ranks and get a 4th member back, and not have to do it again, and not have to leave. So that's all that means. It's a song. YouTube it. You should instantly recognize it and why it fits for 24 minutes most days. Yeah, now that you say it's a song, I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. Minions. People were really excited about this on Reddit. The minions obtained from the following raid dungeons will always appear. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't know that I have them. I think I have like one of them. I have most of the. I have most of the minions, but for anyone who doesn't, I'm happy that this is the thing. And I think there is one that I don't have, and it's probably the Dunscaith one. Oh, the Eureka changes. Yeah, I was excited about these. You've only ever seen the Dunscaith one twice. You can't ever recall seeing the Mahak one. Maybe I did just never see them. And that's why I think I have them all. Because I never saw the ones that I didn't. I don't understand. Oh, is this the option for prioritizing players seeking parties has been adjusted? I don't really understand what that means. New subcommands. I like these. That you can set your magic board aspect to offensive or defensive. So you can just use like one button that will be like, whatever I'm targeting right now, set it to the offensive thing for it. That's my understanding of this. But then this thing weirds me out. That you can set it to be auto so that it will always automatically spin. When you look at the player list, you can sort by elemental level and time in the instance. So now you can sort by players seeking parties. Yeah, that's what I figured it was, but I haven't played around with it that much, so I wasn't sure. But yeah, so wait, now I'm confused. Is this only to set the auto to say I want my auto to be offensive or I want my auto to be defensive? Because the auto magia, I feel like if it changes every time you target something, if you like target things, you're gonna burn through your whatever the MA thing stands for really fast, possibly. So I don't know about this. I don't know. I like it, but I worry it's going to be Magicite. Yeah. Like I was really hoping that it would be a button that I could be like, now spin it to offensive, so I don't have to like manually spin it. That would be cool. But for it to change automatically, because sometimes you don't want it to change. And I feel like, okay, my hope is that with this change, you've never seriously used that board. Oh, Ari. Oh, Ari. You're doing Eureka wrong if you've never used this. You're doing shit for damage. Let me tell you. But yeah, I'm hoping that this means that someday they're going to get rid of this limit of 5 and that you'll just be able to spin it indefinitely because I feel like there's no reason why you can't. Oh yeah, so this is what I'm hoping. I think this, yes, this actually will spin your Magia board. So this stuff makes sense. But the Magia Auto, I just don't think does. You don't mind the limit? You almost never. Yes, currently you almost never do. I worry that the auto is going to make that happen way more often. Because while mostly I never even get close to running it, but occasionally I've had scenarios where I've gotten low. And yeah, but like if it changes every time I accidentally target something new, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, the differently aspected ads are when you have to be careful with it. Cuz you'll like switch it when you, but usually those ones are the high level ones and they actually take so long to kill that like your things come back up between them anyways. So the following adjustments have been made to Eureka Pagos. The number of enemies that must be defeated to spawn notorious monsters has been decreased. That is nice, except nobody knows what that number is exactly. It's speculated that it's 30, but no one is quite sure. The number of Pagos crystals received for defeating notorious monsters has been increased. That is nice, but I don't need Pagos crystals. I need the light. Just ignore ads and Zerg the boss and let someone else do it. Yep, that's also an option. Oh my god, this is huge for new players. I'm not even mad that this will never affect me. I'm just really happy that new players have this because this was terrible. But the elemental level required to access the geothermal and gravitational studies aetherites in Pagos have been reduced. So the level 31 has been reduced to 23. That's huge. And the 32 one has been reduced to 25. That is also huge. Like those will actually be usable now when you're at the level that you want to be around those. And the people who are low level are just going to have so much of an easier time traveling to NMs. Like it's huge. That was like the single biggest change that Pagos needed. The fact that it's being decreased means it was probably higher than 30, maybe. 30 is a guaranteed number, but it's generally thought that the actual number is something less and may vary depending on NMs, but that's hard to prove. Does that mean you can go into Pagos now? Quite possibly. Wait, what level are you, Ari? It doesn't reduce the level that you need to get into Pagos. It just means it sucks less. But yeah, there was somebody posting on Reddit that like, they're like, everybody's dumb for thinking it's 30, it's not, and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there's so much like, I don't know, nobody knows for sure. But this guy was saying that everybody was totally wrong. But like, I don't know, he's just totally wrong. 32, yeah. Pagos will be much more bearable. Well, even I like this because even when I was going back and doing it, like, I just always felt bad for the low level players in my party when I'm like, I could get you on my mount and get you there way quicker, but like, I'm not going to be able to run there on a mount in time. So no, I'm not going to chauffeur you there. I'm going to teleport, and I'm sorry that you're just shit out of luck. But that's just sort of how it went. And then they've also made changes to Pyros. So again, they decrease the number of enemies to spawn the notorious monsters, and they increase the number of Pyros crystals you get for defeating notorious monsters, which that excites me. Because I still need a lot of stuff from Pyros. Excuse me. People who shout down the number 30 are the ones who think you need to kill 5,000 ghosts to spawn, and yeah. No, like, there's clearly something else going on, and I was reading recently, and I'm not sure that this is true either, but there's like a theory that there's like a spawn window, and like at any given time, only certain NMs like can spawn. Like you can still prep them, but they won't pop if it's not their window, and that the window resets every time a notorious monster is killed, and also resets when like the bunny fates are done, which is why when Pyros was new, NM spawned pretty easily because people were killing the bunny fates all the time and like making that window move around. And then, but no one ever did bunnies in Pagos, which is why Pagos sucked. But like even that, like I can think of a lot of ways where I think that's not, and that can't be how it works, or that's not provable based on what we've observed. So I don't know, but I feel like there is something. And I always said about Pagos that there's something we're missing. There's gotta be a different, like something we're missing that makes NM spawn better, because like it's just shit. You haven't done any real Pagos yet, just challenge logs to grind the levels. You don't know, you don't think either way it's really hard to prove that it's 30. We've only be able to prove it if we guarantee we get in a fresh instance by ourselves. There's probably a scheduler and bunnies are strongly linked to it, but working out the details of how it works. Yeah, that seems to make sense, but the exact details of it, I don't know. But you can't even really tell for 100% certainty it's a fresh instance. Yeah, it's true. I didn't actually read through a lot of these actions because I don't use a lot. I think this one seems the most interesting, where they're making Wisdom of the Remembered, which I'm not positive I know which one that is, but I want to say based on the name that it might be Re-Raise. And they're changing it to Spirit of the Remembered, so you can use it and then still use other wisdoms, which is nice. The block in Pagos is probably that nobody did bunnies, yeah. And there are at least 2 NMs that rarely, if ever, worked on because they're a pain to get to, yeah. Wait, which ones are a pain to get to? Which ones are you talking about? I don't think of any of them people didn't do because they were a pain to get to. It was just that they just never spawned. Bravery? Yeah, duration increased from 100 to 300. Yeah, that's pretty huge. Yeah, they all seemed interesting, but I don't use any of them, so they didn't really mean a whole lot to me. Oh, this one! Recast timer of abilities will be reset with entering dungeons and trials and raids. That makes so much sense, because it was so confusing that like you could go in and if you'd been doing something right before, your stuff would be on cooldown, but you could just go die and like reset it. That was always dumb. Bunnies might not matter. It's true. I want to believe. I always wanted to believe that they mattered. I feel like people tried that early on in Pagos, because people did kill bunnies at the start, and things still didn't spawn, and so people decided that bunnies had nothing to do with it. So if they did have something to do with it, I don't know. It just, because I can't believe that like people were just like, no, bunnies are stupid, and when we were trying to figure stuff out at the start, that no one ever like tried that long enough to determine one way or another if it helped or not. Conditions for penalization when abandoning duties have been adjusted. The consensus of this is it just means that if it gets rid of the edge case where one person leaves your party and you're trying to leave to not get the penalization by leaving right after them, but like that 4th spot gets filled right before you, right as you're clicking abandon, and you get hit with the penalization even though you shouldn't have. So now it's just the first person who abandons the duty after it's begun gets penalized, and anyone else, regardless of if your party's full or not, you won't get the penalty. You still have no idea what the fuck bunnies are, but you always see people arguing about them. So in Pagos and Pyros, there's 2 fates that pop frequently, and they're not NM fates. They pop pretty much all the time. They're almost always up. So they're not something that you pop. And they're bunnies. You save bunnies, so they call them bunnies. But they're just 2 like random fates that the ones in Pagos didn't give XP, or gave really shitty XP, so nobody wanted to do them. The ones in Pyros gave much better XP, so people actually did bunnies. When the fate ends, you have a random chance of getting a bunny, and then if you get a bunny, you play like a hot and cold game with it, and it leads you to a treasure, basically. And there's usually you get shit, much like most RNG things from the treasure, but you can actually get some cool stuff from them. But it's just doing the fates, getting people to do the fates is annoying, and then like the fact that it's an RNG chance of you even getting a bunny from doing it, and then it's an RNG chance that the bunny will will even give you a chest, and there's there's a risk that like if your bunny gets hit by anything, it just dies. If your bunny tries to lead you to a dangerous place when you're like not max level, you will die and lose your bunny. So there's a lot of factors that affect bunnies. Yeah, they're very highly likely to lead you to high level mobs. So they're interesting. I think people do them in Pyros way more than they ever did them in Pagos, but I feel like at this point most people have given up on the north bunnies because those ones are much more likely to lead you into high level areas, and people just do the south ones, which if you're max level cannot lead you somewhere that will kill you. So that was very nice. They moved stuff around in Raid Finder. They moved us around Duty Roulette Expert. They increased the average eye level from 340 to 360, which people are upset now because some of the the old ones drop gear that's lower than the eye level needed to enter. Which I mean, I guess, but seriously, who is running Duty Roulette Expert for the gear? Like, please. Pyros bunnies are very popular for the mount. Yes. Yes. Pyros bunnies drop a lot more interesting things, but I like the stuff though that Pagos drops. Like, it still drops some cool stuff, but nobody gets it because nobody does bunnies in Pagos. We got stuff added. They added things to the roulettes. They adjusted tombstones. All of this is like expected. Added Siriu to Stone Size C. You can get more items from hunt logs. You can now get the twine and shellac to upgrade your Genesis gear to 400 by doing the 24-man rather than only by doing raiding. Does anyone? People do. People definitely do Stone Size Ski. I hear people. My raid group people occasionally have been like, "Oh, I beat the Stone Sky C for 012 Savage," just like as a gear check to see how well their gear is and their rotation at that point. PvP action adjustments. I don't PvP enough to really care, and none of these changes are to jobs that I play in PvP, so it makes me care even less about them. There was the main thing a lot of it came from is that HP reduction or increases now affects healing abilities as well as healing spells. You thought about going there when you saw it in the notes. They should add rewards to it. You know what? People would do it if there was a reward. But the reward is knowing you don't suck completely. But that's not enough of a reward for most people. The feast, honestly, I don't really care about the feast. I'm interested in this like countdown. Apparently, if you put a focus target on somebody, then you get countdown of, I guess, when you should start focus targeting them. That seems interesting if I ever spectated PvP matches, but I don't. Season 11 ends, Season 12 begins. I haven't done anything, so I personally don't have any tiers, so I won't be getting any rewards. But if you do, you have to claim them before Season 12. This is quite interesting. In Frontlines, tanks and melee will take 30% damage and deal 15% more. That's like huge. That's huge. And in Borderland, due to this change, I'm assuming they increase the HP of a lot of the NP, like the environment things that you attack. So the interceptor drones and nodes, Icebound Tomulus. In Rival Wings, it's 20% less damage and 10% more, so not quite as much. They made a lot of changes to Rival Wings, which it's been unfortunately a long time since I've run it, so I don't remember all the implications of this. But I think your core previously, Clay, if you're still around, correct me if I'm wrong, but the core you couldn't attack before until you took 2 towers down. And they've changed it so now you can attack it when only 1 is down, but you do less damage. So it's possible to kill it with only 1 tower down, but it'll be harder to do. So you still want to take 2 down, but it's not a requirement that you get 2 down. And then they changed the HP and balancing and blah blah blah. Soaring is soaring the Rival Wings version of what's the word? Like the what you get when you kill people. I think that's what it is. I think it's interesting. Stacks are no longer reduced upon KO, so you just like accumulate them throughout the match. It doesn't even matter if you die, which is quite interesting. Yeah, you get soaring for objectives too. Yeah. And you get flying high at 20 soaring stacks. I really think it's mostly interesting that it doesn't reduce it on KO. And the stacks, I think they added this. You get a stack for, like, your entire team will get a stack when you defeat an enemy tower, which means everyone will have at least 2 if you take down both towers, right? The effects of soaring and flying high will no longer apply when playing Machina. I think that's interesting. I didn't realize it did. So the fact that it doesn't. Did you know that that was a thing? I don't remember being aware that that was a thing. Damage dealt to mammoths and machina is no longer reduced when attacking from 15 yalms. Really? It was? Man, like some of these things I'm just like, what? The reduction in HP restoration to mammoths is now affects non-magical healing abilities. Okay, so that probably means that I can't Benny them to full, or maybe Benny would still, because Benny is just all. Like, how do you reduce that? The self-sacrificing attack used by mammoths against the enemy core has been changed to an action specifically designed for this purpose. I don't really know what that means. I feel like it means that they've just changed the name of it and maybe the animation to something else. But it sounds like they'll still self-sacrifice themselves to damage the enemy core. Or are they just saying that it's changed, that they do something different when it's against the core rather than against a tower? Is that possible? My guess is so that you can't debuff it. Debuff which? I like that the amount of ceruleum gained for defeating mammoths has been increased. That'll make getting ceruleum better. Because ceruleum is basically what drives your battle. You need it. You need the resources. Whatever team can like keep getting it consistently is going to do better. And sometimes it could suck and you'd start getting like ceruleum starved and like couldn't do anything because of it. So everybody being able to get more ceruleum just means battles are gonna be better. Could you debuff them before? I thought Clay would be excited by this because he loves Brute Justice. Brute Justice can now be deployed an unlimited number of times rather than twice per battle. So before, if anyone hadn't Rival Wings, you can get these Machina. There's 2 that you can get anytime you want, but Brute Justice you could only spawn 2, and only 1 could be out at once, right? Everybody loves BJs, yeah. Which that sounds super OP, but then if you go down here, you see that they've actually they've halved the HP on Brute Justice. They've increased it on Cruise Chaser, which is interesting. The potency is increased of Spin Crusher and on everything. And the potency of Laser Sword is increased as well on everything, and Optical Sight is all increased. So they're just increasing the potency of Cruise Chaser and their HP, so everything about Cruise Chaser is going to be better. Oppressor has more HP, and they have an increased potency for everything. Brute Justice has a decrease of HP, but their potency is increased again. The cast time for Flare Thrower has been increased though, but the potency is still increased, and it now applies Burn. And Magic Beam is just increased. Oppressor's Proximity AoE is now actually going to damage people. Which one was that? The Steam release? That actually is a pretty significant increase from 1,000 to 2,500. I missed one? Wait, what did I miss? Oh, the 300-ton missile? Yeah, that's the one that you use against the towers. Because that is why. 200,000. Yeah, that was huge. Oppressor was basically how you took down towers. I wasn't really looking at the numbers. I was just interested that they increased. And then Steam Cannon, they have decreased the range. That's kind of rough because I feel like the range was already too small. But they increased the potency of them. New items have been added. I don't hate this armor. Although I realized recently that I actually don't really like general white mage armor. Which is why most of my glamours come from non-job specific gear, because I actually don't like a lot of the specific gear. But I'm assuming this is the white mage one, and that's kind of cute actually, but doesn't show enough skin. You missed cerulean being added at... Oh yeah, I remember reading that. Where is that? Oh yeah, the amount of cerulean gathered by each player is now displayed on the results screen. I think that's cool, so you can see who's actually gathering cerulean and who's not. Because sometimes it would seem like somebody wasn't doing anything, but if they were gathering all the other cerulean, they might have been making a huge difference in the battle. You mean white cloaks, you mean? That's literally all who always get. I know, and they're so boring. I was jealous because I was looking at like Days Glamour recently on Tank, and I was like, oh man, that looks so good. And I was like, what is she wearing? And I was like, oh, some random like dungeon tank armor. I'm like, I wish my random dungeon gear looked that good. It might not have been dungeon gear, but it was like, it was something that like I wouldn't be able to use the healer equivalent of. You like the artifact gear for white mage, at least from a showing off elbows and legs perspective. Yeah, I mean, I like the white mage stuff, but you can only like wear that stuff so often. We get new recipes, but they won't tell us what they are. Some items may be sold. I assume some items that previously weren't able to be sold to synthesized or submitted as expert deliveries and converted into materials now can be. They're changing Valentine's Day chocolate to Old Valentine's Day chocolate. This will be in preparation for the new Valentine's Day event. And the large wall chronometer is now a long case chronometer. I think that name makes sense because that made it sound like it like hangs on a wall, but it's not. You're off? Alright, Clay, have fun. You can't wait to finally afford Whisperfine Glamour. Wait, which is the Whisperfine Glamour? The glasses on the Mungate hat can now be toggled. That's cool, but I don't know what that one is. New items can be exchanged for achievement certificates. I'm excited about that, to find out what that is, because I certainly got a goddamn ton of achievement certificates. Because A, I love achievements, so I've done more achievements than most people, but B, I didn't need to spend any of mine on any of the old veteran rewards, because I have also played for a very long time, and so I had all the veteran rewards delivered to me in my mail, so I didn't have to spend any of my achievement certificates on them. This part I found really confusing. So apparently you can take the crafted 380 gear, and by converting it and like getting some other item, you can then exchange it and get 390 gear, which I don't know why or who would want to do that. And people also pointed out that your crafted 380 gear can be overmelded and the 390 gear that you get in exchange for it cannot. So I don't really know who or why or what, because I imagine it doesn't look any different. Like if it looked cool, maybe that would make sense, but I don't know. I don't know why people would want to do that. Like we already have ways to get 390, 400 gear. Like why are you going through the effort of converting 380 gear to 390? I just don't understand. You now can exchange poetics for grade 6 materia in case you don't have enough. It's good. Nice if you want gear without tombstone raid gating. I mean, yeah, but I feel like at that point, like the 380 gear is going to be good enough for most things you need that it makes sense to just get the 380 gear and not. But I suppose if it's not, depending on how many tokens you need, that maybe it's fine. I don't know. I personally won't be doing it. Some recipes now will give you 2 items instead of 1. None of these are anything that I have crafted because I don't do a lot of Stormblood crafting yet. Special recipes can be viewed, so they're changing the interface for your crafting log, which I guess is cool. I'll have to play around with that. I'm sure it'll be easier. New custom deliveries, we already talked about that. Adjustments have made, they give more, so Zloey and Minago now give more XP, more scripts. And the collectability for mining and botanist stuff has been decreased. We can gather new things at some gathering points. There's going to be new fish. You can get something new via retainer ventures, so the Hawkeye and this hardened veteran's tree sap. New mount. Is this the mount that you get for completing getting all the dogs, the dog mounts? I think they showed this in the live letter and I didn't watch it, so I'm not sure if that's it. But given that it kind of looks like a dog, I feel like that would make sense. If you're an Omnicrafter in Rolling Gill. I am that, but I still don't want to do it. Oh my god, excuse me. The following mounts are now able to fly. Thank God. They promised this to us at like the beginning of Heaven's Word, that the horse mounts from the ARR primals would be able to fly, and it's like almost 2 expansions later that we're finally getting it. Actually, I'm pretty sure they promised to us before Heaven's Word came out. So it's probably been 2 entire expansion cycles since they first told us that this would be a thing. I'm interested with this. They've changed the music for a bunch of mounts. I'm curious as to what they've changed them to. I assume these all had like the generic mount music and now are getting unique mount music, which I'm excited to listen to. More chocobo barding, more minions, new achievements. Does anyone know offhand? I made that. I think that's the one for crafting unique items, which I had noticed that there's like a kind of a big gap in there. So I'm hoping that that's for those. The new duties now work towards your tank achievements to get the tank mounts. They've changed some stuff in preparation for World Visit. World Visit is not implemented yet, but they're making some changes. Basically, you're going to see a lot of language around your home world. It's going to be displayed in more places. You have to put it in it when you want to send tells to people. I think even like on your own server now, since they could be somewhere else. So you have to now say their name at their home server. This I find interesting. The online status of free company members is now displayed while you're in a duty, because you can still talk to your free company, but you could never like check to see who is online. So that's actually a huge change. I'm hoping this will lead to more things that you can do socially while in duties. Players can no longer be added to the friends list or blacklist via character name alone, because you need to have the server. You may now invite friends from other worlds to a party via friends list. This I'm excited by because my Day, who always does the invite for my static, always tries to invite me from the friends list, and she can't. She's got to remember to go in her crossworld link shell, which I suppose once you can do this, there'll be like no reason to be in a crossworld link shell with them, really. Although I probably should, because then I can see when they're on when I want to go visit them. World name is now displayed in the server info HUD, so that's interesting. You'll now see what server you're on, which, given that we can't do world transfer just yet, is useless. It'll just say your home server, but once we can travel, that'll be really useful to have. I actually do like this change, because once your queue pops, if you were accessing your retainer, you can't do anything with your retainer anymore. It blocks you from being able to do anything. So now it's just going to automatically exit it, which is going to be nice since, like, it's going to feel annoying, but it's not going to be any more annoying than it currently is, because it'll just close when you can't do anything, instead of you being like, it's open and I'm trying to do stuff and I can't do it, and then having to close everything manually. Useful when you wake up and literally don't remember what world you're on. Exactly. Exactly. Because, yeah, they specified that there's no changes to what you can't do when Duty Finder pops, which is nothing. So, actually, that's not true, because I could continue to adjust prices while the queue had popped. I couldn't put anything new up for sale. So, I may find this more annoying, but I think that would generally be a good thing. The following adjustments have been made to group pose. You now can group pose when you're transformed. When you're role playing, people were salty that this is added after 2 role play scenarios that we won't get to do again, except that for Shadowbringers, we're getting that replay functionality. So you can, if you really want to, you can now G-pose when you're dead, and you can G-pose when you're transporting things. Group pose can now be used with your squadron members. You'll be able to see who can use a performance action in group pose. I think that means that you can like change other people around, and it'll just be more obvious who you can. I had to drink some water, my throat's dying. I feel like I talk a lot, but apparently I just don't talk quite this much anymore when I stream. Adjustments have been made to the depth of field slider. I'm interested to see if this works any better, because I've been unhappy with the depth of field slider, but it's just not done what I want it to do, so I'm hoping it'll be a bit better. You can turn on emotes within group pose. That'll be handy. And you're going to see a control guide when you group pose for the first time. A confirmation window will appear when exiting. Clay actually he sent this to me because this was like his most excited thing. So you won't accidentally exit group pose after you've spent like a ton of time setting it up and being like, I just lost like everything that I did. So now it will confirm that you actually want to leave, which I've definitely done that. So, and I don't group pose nearly as much as Clay does, and I don't spend nearly as much time in G pose when I do use it. Battle effects can be toggled on and off. That's nice. Manual focus option. That'll be oh, that's actually gonna be nice. I actually didn't read that the first time. I'm excited about that. Maybe I got distracted by this wet attire option, so you can make yourself look wet. I'm sure people will do interesting things with that. Emote controls have been added to motion settings. You can control your character and adventure squadrons. The current time is now displayed. I hope that doesn't show up in screenshots though. And a message. Wait, do they? No, I was hoping I'd be able to see it on that window. A message will now be displayed when attempting to use the stop time weather in duties where the time and weather conditions are already locked, which is basically going to be like you can't lock it because you don't need to. I assume is what that's trying to say. Idle cam can be used when transporting objects. Current time is now displayed while you're idle cam. I actually like that. That'll be kind of cool if you can just watch idle cam and still know what time it is. And players using performance actions can now be viewed with the idling camera. Nice. You can record some different stuff. They added Siriu and both Alphascapes and removed Healthcare, which I don't ever use this, and I feel like it's stupid because it's so limited with how many. Although I'm optimistic that the fact that we finally moved up to 4 dungeons that you can use it in, or 4 duties, that eventually we'll get even more. I haven't used alarms, so I don't know. I don't know about these changes. Can't really speak to anything on them. I am excited about Mount Roulette. I'm going to add a bunch of my favorites in specifically just so I don't have to see some of the ones that I don't like. Not that I feel strongly that I need a favorite list, but I do it. I want to do it just so I can lock out things that I don't like. But you have to have at least 2 favorite mounts, so you can't use it to just get one, which at that point you could just have a button to summon one. You can now see which mounts have more than one seat. I'm kind of hoping, and I feel like I'm just being overly optimistic here, but I want to say that this is that someday this will be a number that's more than 2, and we'll be able to have more than 2 people on a certain mount, like maybe the whale mount, because there's tons of room. Same thing, you can have your favorites in the roulette for minions, which I never summon them. Friends list, when you filter to groups, which I don't ever use, it's more obvious now. A message is now displayed when accepting an invitation to join a party that has already reached its maximum size. I assume that's just like when you can't join. I don't know that I've ever had that happen, but maybe I'll discover that I have had it happen and I just didn't realize it. An effect now plays when a ready check is initiated. Was it not before? I thought there was at least a little like ding sound. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe that is why everybody missed it if you weren't, if you were alt-tabbed or something. You can now change the transparency. I'm trying to think of something that I'd want to be less, or to be more transparent, and I honestly can't think of anything, but maybe someday I'll realize something that I want to be transparent. You know what I want to be transparent? You know what I want? My fucking Lily's indicator, because it's so goddamn useless. Adjustments have been made to display limits with higher priority given to nearby objects. I don't really get that. That sounds like what it should have been anyways. Display of party members is now prioritized in all areas. That makes so much sense. You should always be able to see your party members over other people. And I think I did a S rank the other day, and I was running around, and like my party members were popping in and out of view, the same as other people, and I was just like, this is dumb, and now they changed it because it is dumb. They added some stuff to the keybind menu. They're adding the blue magic spellbook and alarms, and they've changed some stuff that was default to just not be default, which the cycling through hotbars and switching to hotbars. I feel like that caused a lot of people grief, and that's probably why they did it, because people would accidentally cycle their hotbar, and they're like, why did I lose my hotbar? Now why are 2 the same? And that totally happened to me when I was new. You always forget there's a Mac version. Yeah. Oh, this excited me. Screenshots can now be taken in quicker succession, something that always drives me nuts, especially when you're trying to take screenshots in cutscenes, that if you took it at the wrong time, you were locked out for so long before trying to take another one. So I don't know how quick it's going to be, but like anything quicker is going to help. There's some more text commands, so some blue action, blue spellbook, your Magi attack, Magi defense, Magi auto, and reprimand. I guess that's the new emote that we were looking at before. I don't understand what this means. Icons that can be used using the macro icon action name action text command are now limited to those displayed in the action tab of the action and traits. Does that mean, okay, wait, does this just mean you can't use macro icon for an action for a job that you are not currently on? Is that what that means? That it has to be an action you can actually use? Because that's not going to affect me, because I've only ever put actions on for jobs that I action for my current ability. So I feel like that shouldn't affect me in any way. Other than the tell command, it is no longer possible to specify a character by entering their name. I don't know what else you could do to specify a character. Why you ever did that other than with the tell command, but and then the blue action subcommand has been added to the following test commands: macro icon, hotbar, crosshair bar. That makes sense. More things have been added to auto translate, which we don't actually use that much. Excuse me, auto translate was huge in 11, but we don't use it that much. I think it's mostly though because on the NA servers, pretty much everyone speaks English. I think they use it probably more on the EU servers because there's a lot more languages there. Who cares about PlayStation 4? New music has been added, of course. If you play PS4, you can now back up your settings. Then resolved issues they don't tell us about. Known issues. An issue wherein the duty list displays quest names in Japanese during the instance battle and the main scenario quest, Emissary of Dawn and Will of the Moon. Are those old ones? I remember seeing that happen before, but that was like ages ago, and I'm not sure if I've seen that recently. An issue in Eureka where set magia board aspect to offensive and set magia board aspect to defensive are displayed when targeting certain pets and NPCs and opening the subcommands. Like, I don't really get what that means. An issue in Domain Mahjong where gamepad input for selecting. I don't even want to read these. These are all like nothing of interest. Well, yeah, they're things that we don't understand. All right, guys, that is that's the patch notes. That was fun reading through them, but my throat is like legit dying and I'm feeling really tired. So I was planning on doing some programming, but I think I'm just gonna cut my stream short. But I'm glad you guys came and hung out. I hope you guys had fun. I had fun reading through them, giving my opinions on things. So I'm glad that I was able to do this. But yeah, this took a bit more out of me than I thought it would. So I'm gonna end my stream. Unfortunately, even though there's a new patch tomorrow, I have to work a very, very long time, and it's my long evening at work. So I will not be playing the new expansion tomorrow, and I will not be I will not be streaming tomorrow because I will be working. And then Wednesday, I'm not gonna guarantee. I feel like I might play just because it's the new patch. I don't usually stream on Wednesdays. But I often go to my parents for dinner, but they're going out of town for like 3 weeks. So I think they're leaving tomorrow, so I won't be going over there for dinner on Wednesday. So I might have a little bit more time and flexibility. And Wednesday was Survivor night, but Survivor is also over too. So I might do like a late afternoon, early evening stream on Wednesday, and then take like more of the evening off. But I can't start super early on Wednesday because I will probably be working until like 6 a.m. and then sleeping most of the day. And then Thursday, I probably won't get a chance to do a daytime stream because I have a hair appointment, and I know that usually takes like 3 hours because she dyes my hair, and that just takes a long time. So I probably won't do an afternoon stream on Thursday, and then I'll be doing my raid in the evening. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is for raid. I know they're talking about, I don't think we've really decided. They're talking about they want to do their clears tomorrow, which means I'm going to be stuck trying to pug my clears, which I'm not super excited about. I was kind of hoping that given it was a new patch that people would be like, yeah, we want to just do new patch content on Tuesday, like screw raid, but I don't know. It seems like it's not the case. Probably because a lot of my static doesn't do anything besides raiding. But yeah, I suspect that's where it's going. But I don't have a finalized decision yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on Thursday night. And yeah, I'll probably be on Wednesday. And unfortunately, instead of playing new content, which is what I want to spend my Wednesday doing, probably going to be trying to scrounge up some raid clears so I can actually get them this week. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. So I can only guarantee that I'll be back on Thursday at 8:30 for raid, but I will probably do a stream at some time on Wednesday, but it's not going to be my usual time. So just keep an eye out for that if you want to come watch and hang out. But yeah, so I'm going to head off. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry it was a little bit of a shorter stream. But have a good night. Enjoy the patch tomorrow when I cannot. And I will see you guys on Wednesday and or Thursday. Good night.